Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Lucy Handley. I do adult programs at the Ridgefield Library, and I'm happy to introduce Barb Jennis, our Poet Laureate Emerita, who has done much for our town and our library. Welcome, Barb.
Oh, well, thank you, Lucy, and thank you too, and also Ridgefield Library for hosting us month after month, which is wonderful. We were just having a conversation before we came on the program where we're almost 3 years. It would be 3 years in January that the program has existed, which means we've hosted pretty close to 150 Connecticut poets. So that's pretty cool. It shows you how poetry rich our state is. And we've only had a few duplicates. So I suspect, though, we may be starting to re-invite some people. So if you would like to participate, haven't yet, just email me at Barb Jennis. You can see my name on the screen, barbjennis@gmail.com, and let me know where you live and a short bio, and we'll get you on the roster. We like to have a balance of experienced poets, published poets, and also newcomers to the what do you call it? The art or bad habit, whichever you want to look at it. So speaking of poets, a wealth of poets, our poets for next month, let me do a screen share. On November 5th, we will be hosting Diane Bilyak, Michael Servas, Becky Schoenfeld, who's in the audience tonight, Sanford Forrester, and Victoria Buitron. So it's November 5th at 7 o'clock. I'm sure you'll be seeing it on social media, and be sure to come and join us. So screen sharing has stopped. Yes, okay, good. Anyway, let's get started with this evening's wonderful poets. I will introduce first River Ripa. River sees poetry as a modality to reconnect humans with nature. She has one published poetry collection entitled Of the Earth, Planetary Poetry, and has another in the works. Her work has been featured in Philosopher's Stone Poetry, the Winged Moon Literary Magazine, Poesia Salvaje. You'll have to correct my pronunciation on that, River. And that's from Peru, and the Walt Whitman Poetry Association, and more. She is a full-time senior herbal copywriter, as well as a certified meditation guide, Reiki practitioner, and herbalist. So, by the way, I will post River's entire biography in the chat, but if you would, please welcome River. Welcome, River.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's Poesia Salvaje, just so you know. So hi, everyone. Thank you for being here in this sacred moment of expression and peace. I'm honored to share space with you all this evening, and I'm River Ripa, as Barb shared. Thank you for inviting me this evening. I'm a poet. I'm from Long Island, New York, now based in Southington, Connecticut. So the first two poems I'll share are from my collection Of the Earth, Planetary Poetry. And you'll notice my poetry is directly inspired by moments I've had in nature or in meditation, and really love letters to earth, spirit, and compassion. And this first poem really feels like the closest thing to my inner world in poem form. So I do love to share this one, and I hope you connect with it as well. So it's called The Way. This is up here. Okay. I remember the days when sugar plums floated in your wake. I remember when night was a time of day. I remember mathematics before the subject took form. I remember when you didn't have to be seen to be born. I remember when you were little, I mean really little, atomic. I remember when communication was subsonic. I remember when the spirit of love wasn't named. I remember when giving and giving was gain. I remember when the silence of goats was truth, and the science behind it was spoken with flutes. I remember when animals weren't slaves. I remember when Om was all that you craved. I remember the debates of whether weather exists. Some took to the mountains while others would persist. I remember the fields between Jupiter and Mars. I remember when our visions were our cars. I remember him, hum, him, ha, who. I remember the birth of latitude too. I remember people addicted to their toes in wet grass and the psychiatrist butterflies who helped them get past. I remember when through feeling the souls were employed. I remember what Purple's grandmother told me to avoid. Don't give up your imagination, for it is not child's play. It is the way, it is the way, it is the way, it is the way. So that's the first one, really honoring that beautiful force of imagination that lives within every single one of us. The second one, I've never shared aloud. It's also from Of the Earth, but I felt compelled to share it tonight because at its essence, it's about boundless human connection, which I feel, of course, we need now more than ever. So it's called Wordless. I'm just wondering if you believe in telepathy, or if instead you rely on words, sounds, vibrations. I'm asking because I am a conduit for northward silence, and I feel you from here. I'm not getting any more normal today, so seal your lips and develop before my eyes. It's beyond technology, my friend. It's beyond prayer. It is nothing more or less than now, layering on trust. This is the part that the people can't comprehend. Trust is not built into their mechanism anymore, and so they lose effortlessness. Without this concept, language beyond language cannot be. Fabrications of faith are not reactive to the organic compounds of pure existence. Connectivity to the supreme. Process that for a moment. Is this in your dreams? Have you ever felt it? The world rips you up and open and apart and to dust. But the bonds beyond bonds maintain cellular continuity and energetic infinitism, and you can never feel fragmented. You can never be. What I'm trying to say is that there is no separation between anything. I'm trying to say it, but I'm not saying it at all. So please remove all of your senses and we can speak in placid actuality. So thank you so much. And next, moving on to poems that are not in Of the Earth, that will be in a future collection that I currently have in the works. And the first is called Listening to Water. And it's in two little parts. So part one, backstroke, back, that word sounded so funny. Okay, backstroke into the night sky. I am a being of the pond, mossy, messy, floating on warm, swirling waters. The ocean so far away, crystal clear and elegant. I don't miss it because it doesn't tell me things, doesn't speak like this. The ancient mantras of frogs and crickets, the sounds of stars like flute-fallen echoes, the haunt of owl wings as secrets ever so spoken. I sink into the symphony, tranced by woodwinds. It's silly that we think we invented music. Surely the pond sang long before we did. Part two. I can't leave without telling you I misspoke, lied even, when I said the ocean doesn't tell me things. The resounding origin percussion, whales singing, dolphins dancing. Of course it speaks. Of course I miss it. But the pond has all of me tonight. So it's funny because part 2 of that didn't exist, but that night after I wrote it, I felt so guilty to say I didn't miss the ocean that I had to pull out my journal and add that part on. And on that note, here's another about the ocean. And this one is called, "It is True That Pelicans Are Majestic." I lost myself a dozen times, floating in the morning sea. Rolls and rolls of heaven scribes dancing themselves into me. The gold glow glides, the bent light sings, the pelican nears with open wings. I breathe and flicker, just barely there. He rests in wholeness, fully aware. The winds beyond us begin to speak, the bending vowels just in our reach. If such a thing as truth exists, it must be held in nows like this. Just very special morning in the ocean. And next, I will taking you to some of my favorite little natural settings. So next, I'll take you to a river that I loved to sit by in Peru. So just a really sacred moment in the evening by the small river, as evenings by a small river tend to be. So this one is called the Santa Eulalia River. I'd like to be the layer of water just above the rocks in a small stream, or perhaps the layer of powered air just above the water, or the floating butterfly just above the powered air, or the half their shapes just above the floating butterfly, or the moon mountains right above the half their shapes, the quiet spirits right above the moon mountains, or the crystal cool wind just above the quiet spirits, the hidden numbers just above the crystal cool wind, or the murmuring stars just above the hidden numbers. But tonight, I am the rock, compact and observant, waiting for the current to turn me over. So I think, am I still good on time? One more. Okay, so here's one more. I'll end on one more from Of the Earth, from a camping trip in Central Australia, nearby the 300 million year old red rock monolith called Uluru. You might have heard of it. It's deeply sacred to the Anangu people in Australia, and I had the honor of camping around that area just in a sleeping bag under the sky. So I'll take you to that moment, one of those nights. Laying on the red dust, dark galaxies above, serpents, red spiders, wild canines, towering canyons, all around. No threat at all, never a threat. Only this shamanic presence weaving into me like the sacred vine, by way of close proximity and vibratory patterns, an aborigine integra. The dry waters of now, locked within me and ripening my spirit. I am sugar to the earth and rum to the stars. As I hallucinate on reality, reality hallucinates on me, and there is no detecting the origin of this madness, or the center of this being, or the lungs of this breath. Everything is moving, everything is inhaling, everything is disassociating together. And as I lay in a million pieces, I see the sky. The night sky is no different, as the innumerable lights lay in a million pieces, speaking among themselves, whispering legends about legends. And I see the language like spiral ripples in the Garden of Eden, and suddenly all condenses into one, and I am staring eye to eye with the prime mover, who tells me, "Precious one, you are the diamond, and I am the hands that hold you."
Beautiful. You know, River, I misjudged the time. Could you read one more? Do you have one more you could share, please?
Yeah, I could definitely read one more. This is a short one I had on hold just in case I had more time, and it's really simple and it's about ending on, I just want to end on a note of union with all that's going on in the world and just remembering what connects us. And this is called Seeing Each Other. The thing is, in these moments, we need each other's warmth to shelter each other and quench each other's thirst and lift each other's voice. There is no other way because there are no others. There's no such thing.
Wonderful. What a wonderful way to end. Oh my gosh. Tell us a little bit about Peru. Do you go there a lot or have you been a number of times?
I lived there before the pandemic. I was there for about 3 years in total. I came back when the pandemic hit. Yeah, so I have lots of memories, and especially in my next collection, there's going to be a lot of moments from that time. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And I love your background too with the herbal therapy and all the and Reiki. Yes?
yeah,
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. Wonderful reading and very interesting life.
so thank
Oh,
you for welcoming me. I really appreciate it.
our pleasure. Okay, so next up we have Charlie Chase. Charlie has published his poetry in numerous journals and anthologies. His poems have won competitions and been nominated for the Pushcart Prize. Chase represented Connecticut in the International Poetry Slam Finals in San Francisco. You have to tell us which year, Charlie. Which year were you there?
Oh man, I don't know, a long time ago.
Oh, that's okay. All right. And then he's past president of the Norwich Arts Center and the Middletown chapter of the Connecticut Poetry Society. His book publications include a business text, 2 chapbooks, and 4 self-published volumes of poetry, all with the title Runway Lights. So you have to tell us about that too, Charlie. But welcome.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I'll be reading the first 2 poems will be from this. Can you read that, or is it letters backwards and all jumbled? Can you read the title? It's fine, okay. Barb, you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I said Runway Lights, Life in the.
Undercloud.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Life in the undercloud, right? And then three of the other poems will be from this one, Runway Lights. Which one is it? Blue Rose. Blue Rose. Okay. Um, so first of all, River, that was beautiful. I love the sense of oneness with everything that you were expressing. I could really get it. I love your voice too. Okay. A man at breakfast, mouthful of wheat flakes and fresh banana, happens upon his own obituary in the newspaper. He is shocked and saddened. The sense of loss is surprising. He has never before felt such affection for himself. He is grateful to himself that someone who knew him so intimately and for so long would, in the end, actually feel so much emptiness at his passing. He shows the announcement to his wife, who was at the stove frying an egg. Oh, Harold, I'm sorry. She turns the egg over. What will you do now? I don't know, he says. They stare at each other. The egg starts to brown on the edges. I guess I shouldn't go into work, he offers. No, no, of course not, she agrees, sliding the egg onto a plate. Harold, am I dead too? She asks. No, I don't think so. I mean, your name wasn't in the paper. Their daughter, a vegetarian, comes downstairs and the mother tells her that her father is dead. She gives him a hug. Sorry, Dad. Yes, well, I suppose it has to happen to everybody. Don't worry about it. I'll be okay. When the daughter asks if this means he'll be leaving, he's uncertain. Yes, Harold, says the wife, I think that would be best. He stands still as a chess piece on the black and white linoleum squares. Where do I go then? He asks. His wife averts her eyes. He nods and walks upstairs, but once in the bedroom, he can't imagine what he should pack. After a while, his wife joins him. You really should be going, she says. Stepping into the hall, he opens the door to the attic and begins to climb the stairs. It is very slow going, and he pauses frequently to rest. True story. All right. The affair. I'm introduced to a woman, Helen, at a party, and we start meeting at a motel, making up excuses to tell our spouses. One day, I suddenly realize Helen is my wife. I'm furious, banging the heel of my hand on the steering wheel. How dare she cheat on me? This is grounds for divorce, I tell her when I get home. I spurn her apologies, her promises that it's all over, her declarations that she still loves me. She runs crying into the bedroom and slams the door. A minute later, the phone rings. Can you talk? It's Helen. I look toward the bedroom. The door's still closed. Okay. She begins sobbing, saying that her husband has found out about us and threatens to divorce her. I tell her I'm sorry, that I'll support her no matter what happens. We are silent a long time. She must be terribly upset. I speak softly into the phone. I love you, Helen. And who the hell is Helen? My wife is standing right behind me. I'm so surprised I can't think of an answer. Get out, she yells. Get out and don't even think about coming back. I go to the motel and immediately call Helen, asking if she can get away. In 20 minutes, we're lying in each other's arms, both our lives in shambles. You should be getting back, I tell her. It's okay, she says. I threw the bastard out. Early in the morning, she wakes me. Why don't you come to my place? I've made up my mind. It's over with me and Frank. Are you sure? I ask, unable to conceal my excitement. She looks at me deeply, rubs my cheek with a finger. My marriage was such a lie, she says. I just can't live like that anymore. Do you know what I mean? I take her hands in mine. I do. All right, so my apologies. I mean, this is a poetry reading. I'm sure you didn't come here to have fun. So, all right, so let me put an end to that fun stuff right away. So, being a parent can really be heartbreaking at times. So the next two poems touch on that. So the first one is about when you realize that your perfect day is not their perfect day, and it's called Perfect Day. One day when I was there, striped bass in the river, osprey in the sky, my son and I walking. One summer day, the clouds high beyond high, the air clear and warm, the tide full and lifting dry seaweed at the high water mark. Oh, my son. A day not simply beautiful. At this time, this weather, this tilt and turn of the planet, this migratory advance, this moment of population, this confluence of prey and predation, of pollution and regulation, this day, the river was crowded with sport fish in from the sea, and a dozen osprey overhead, circling. Our conversation kept an easy pace. pausing at the tip of the sandbar to watch the fish hawk dive in the water and rise, slow winging upriver, like its catch heavy in its talons, the effort to stay aloft. We were returning, headed back to the car. On the beach lay a bass 3 feet long, gutted, but otherwise clean and glistening on the sand as if it just swam ashore. I hooked my fingers through the gill, raised its heft to my face, detected no trace of odor. I talked of taking it home to eat, of exquisite flavor, of gifts from the sea on perfect days that come once, twice in a lifetime. But you were unmoved, uncomfortable about scavenging from the shore. I held the fish, weighing my decision, flooded. What moments before cruised our waters in fierce silver stripes, now suddenly dead, disemboweled, discarded, oh my son. Okay, so the next one is called Love and the Cockatiel. And in case you don't know what a cockatiel is, it's important that you can visualize it. So this is a cockatiel, gray with a yellow cheek and an orange circle. Male cockatiel, my wife reminds me. No. After cleaning the cockatiel's cage, I neglected to put him back in it. He was several days on the porch before I noticed him. His gray feathers were covered with white dust and grit, and he was hardly able to climb on my finger. I lifted him to my face. The bright orange circle on his yellow cheek had faded, and I could see he was frightened and upset. The last few days must have been horrible for him. When he finished eating, I let him perch on my shoulder and we sat together on the couch. He snuggled his head against my neck and I stroked it with the bottom of my chin. I spoke softly to him, telling him how sorry I was, that it was okay now. After a time, I realized it was my daughter I was holding. She was sitting in my lap, her orange hair nestled in the yellow blanket against my shoulder. Her sobbing had just ended, and we were rocking back and forth. The world was a hard place, and I hadn't sheltered her enough. So I'm going to end with three short pieces. The first two are also about birds, um, but you may not be familiar with the birds in the first one. Um, so as part background for this, this is taken from a painting by René Magritte, who was a Belgian surrealist. And what always struck me about his surreal images were how emotional, how filled with emotion they were. So this is Songs at Evening. The family of green birds can't fly. They are attached to the stem of the plant, wings spread like giant leaves. And in their hearts are songs they have no voices to sing. If you watch, you'll see them all aflutter in the afternoon, turning their wings to catch the breeze. And you might notice their closed eyes as they imagine themselves soaring and twirling, as light as lifted leaves afloat in the vast blue sky. After the breeze passes, the birds go still. It is quiet. And into the silence, the green birds imagine they hear songs rising from their throats, the most beautiful songs one can imagine. Okay. So the last two are kind of Ars Poetica pieces, which, if you don't know, is poetry about poetry or the act of making poetry. The first one is called The Hawk. If you're to catch an image, if you're to slide your talons through the soft skin and feel the adrenaline shock knock out its pain, if you're to be there when its warm little heart gives itself over without a sound, you must be ready, high above the earth. You must know the field exactly and the difference between a leaf or blade that quivers from wind and one that's been struck by something alive. Okay, last one. Your torture's almost over. Um, so this is how a poem captures a moment. So it's called Freeze Frame. I was looking down at the ice, the strand of floating grass frozen in place, and the tops of underwater vegetation, water ferns, mosses, stems with tiny leaves, obscured in some areas by clouds of tan silt held in suspension, while elsewhere the ice was clear to the bottom, a chaos of leaves, a collage of gray and ink, seen through frozen bubbles. I was looking down at the ice. I was. And that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, The Hawk. What an amazing poem. Oh, that, the feel the adrenaline rush to knock out the pain, and the poem that you've grabbed. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And, it's interesting that you mentioned Magritte, because you have a surrealist bent to your work, which is the first two especially. They were wonderful. Kind of very surprising. So thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have our third poet of the evening. Versatile Poetique is a spoken word and performance artist. Inspired by the raw and pure performances on Deaf Poetry Jam, Versatile found community and mentorship attending local open mics, sharing her perspectives as a young, mask-presenting queer woman. Versatile's poetry has led her to stages like the New Haven Pride Center, Hartford Jazz Festival, and the Trinity Hip Hop Festival. Now a teaching artist at the Charter Oak Cultural Center, she is focused on drafting her first book and recording an album. So welcome, Versatile.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for having me. Before we get started, I would like to, for those of you who would like to join me, start with a self-affirmation that I've been doing since the month of April, posting on my social media. People are responding to it very nicely. And how it works, it is 4 snaps, 4 pats, and 4 claps. So when you wake up in the morning after you brush your teeth, don't forget your self-affirmation. Give yourself some snaps, some pats, and some claps. You matter, you are worthy, you are beautiful, you are enough, you are the sugar honey iced tea. Don't forget to give yourself some snaps, some pats, and some claps. Thank you very much. And please implement that in your daily lives. Self-love is the best love, and we are certainly in the times of healing right now. So the first poem that I'd like to share with you is called Black White. Black White. white, black, that's how you act. It's a historical fact. Right, wrong, wrong, right. Chalk lectures the blackboard. Knowledge ignites the candle for history to rewrite the manual. Ebonics wires the society, dumping bodies in the black hearse. It's too deep to reverse. Learn song notes, playing until you pale. Melting pot created by white arms holding the hammer. Crystals in the black hands crack the cement in the cell. Darkness buried in the box, numb from the oxy, picking at the cotton. Breathe in the gin, swallow the jack, throw the black to stay on track. Test your ability, hear the possibility, play the versatility, a black-white commodity, black bags of hope, burned in vain, name-calling cane, white out your brain, agony stains like pain, wetter than the rain. Blind eyes see the flash of logic, it's symbolic, factual, actual, unusual ways to free your sense, to seize the moment from righteous to one. Black-white, it magnifies poetic, the words are kinetic. Black ashes of truth chipping away your tooth. A colorblind rhyme injected to the thoughts of a colorblind mind. Black ink walking across the white paper, saluting success. White out the black mistakes, enslaving his progress. A colorless world, a colorless rainbow, a colorless disaster. So I speak of holding black white as the story happily ever after. Black cards drawn from bank accounts and the mouths of excuses. White stars talking to the black sky, a white lie of reality. Black-white composition books tracing souls to nationality. White lines snipped into black holes of fear. Chess game, black-white players, separated segregation. King had dreams of black-white. One congregation. The 60s purchased desegregation and the millennium returned sugar-coated separation. Oreo cookies dipped in milk by innocent kids across the nation. Black-white reflecting beauty spots on a Dalmatian from 100 to 1. Salt and pepper, push it together, a tasteful melody. Bowls of ecstasy from whips of chocolate. White on the cream, black-white, trick or treat. Same struggle, everyone trying to eat. Differences drowned in color, tears dried with similarity, princes of a constitution bleeding on the root of morality. White sheets, find the coup, scream out clocks for your clan superiority. Black Panthers fighting by any. X means the necessary. Eerie feelings, writing words, talking talks. From me, a missionary. Black, white, see the light in unity, resurrect the community. Piece to piece, solve the puzzle, left to right, hip to hop, pitch to black, see the sight, vision the light, live the life. Peace, black, white. Thank you very much. The question I have for the group, who has been deceived before? Raise your hand if you've ever been deceived before in life. Okay, second question. Who has deceived someone else before? Raise your hand. It's funny how not as many hands go up when you have to take accountability and responsibility that you were doing the deceiving. I find that very fascinating. This poem is called Deception. We all want to achieve, so when the pressure presses our stresses, we willingly deceive. We believe we can get away without consequence, so we constantly try to erase the negative constraints that strain our conscience. I'm just trying to be honest, because those closest to you behind your back will treat you like a con artist. If you don't believe me, look into the eyes of another and see where they were stabbed the hardest. It doesn't matter if you're the smartest, dumbest, richest, or poorest, because someone has deceived you. So what do? Run up in their house and leave them black and blue? What if it's someone who loves you, who are always the ones quickest to hurt you, set you up to fly, cut your wings, and desert you? What if it's someone you trust? Not knowingly, they secretly see your downfall and arrange your death like the friends of Julius Caesar. You see, this is just a mental teaser. You gotta watch the enemy because you could be sleeping with them like Julia Roberts in 91. Friends sitting in your house, creeping into your life like a mouse. behind closed doors masturbating about your spouse. Deception alters the perception of reality, making your dreams crash like Leonardo's Inception. Let's cut the deceit out with a cookie cutter, add lots of butter, then feed each other. Like when Othello's friend drove him to strangle his own girlfriend. How could this happen? They had a strong love that was broken into lies and deceit. Strong will, trust, and love in this life is all we're needing. But it never seems enough because we want what we don't need and need what we don't want. Some of the most notorious gangsters in the world, Frank Lucas, Rayful Edmonds, and Gotti, all stared into the hidden depths of deception inside their own entourage and didn't even know it. Corner stores sell the cheap and unhealthy to the poor. Hold on to that fact. Let me add some more. Why pay nothing to receive nothing, but have to pay more to receive something when the same something is a worldwide necessity? Healthy food deceives us too. Religious figures deceive with the Lord's name in vain. Politicians are lying to you. The media sells controversial stories even when they aren't true. And the government wants your money for unjustified uses, but you pay taxes because that's what you have to do. Deception was drinking your coffee and tea this morning. Deception filled up your gas tank. Deception is printed inside the tongue of your Nike check sneakers. Deception is written on the blackboard by the teachers. Deception is prescribed medicine given to you by the doctors. Deception broke the law in court by the lawyers. Welfare, paying dues for some who take advantage, happy to do nothing while chewing on a Section 8 sandwich. You drive a Benz, but at your house, roaches are your secret friends. Things are not always the way that they seem, like the hidden pregnancy with Jehovah's Witness team. So be aware, because deception makes the world turn around, and deception will always stand its ground. The question is, will you? Thank you very much. This next one is my signature poem. I wrote it in college at the University of Hartford. I would say this was the year 2007. It's called Me. I hope you learned something about me. And I also hope that you learned something about yourselves. To even try to depict me, do me a favor, grab a Dutch with flavor. I'll break up the words and roll the knowledge. Now you hold the intellect. Wait, hold it. Feel the stimulation and blow the poetry. Now that you've inhaled this poetic high, let's give it a try. What do you wonder when you see a woman living not by what's supposed to be? 5'8", long hair, thick thighs, little booty, and brown skin, lay under the blankets of materialism that covers my exterior and traps my interior. You see, I'm a foreign lesson unknown to you, so approach me with caution. My mind is dense and heart a beating nightmare. Athletic and vicious and outgoing are traits that don't create me. I'm a fiend for pulling a trigger and blowing away ignorance. I despise the fools that label themselves because society said so. Don't define me because definitions are our best friend to Webster. And don't try to look for the 411 of me because Wikipedia won't tell you the full truth. My swag busts through like a good nut and leaves them thinking, what? My attitude doesn't reflect what they thought, but what they see in me. I'm a rebel to the rules and a conformist to the abnormal. So you see, most eyes that are set upon me see an image of a male. Why? They say men wear this and women wear that. Claimed who? Well, I wear those and these, so I am this and that together. My uniqueness is fed as different, but swallowed as judgment. And I have a personality that isn't personable, I must confess. An emotion you could never configure. It's no advertisement. You see, women snicker when I pass by because they're intrigued by my mystery and trapped by the closet. Men beam when I walk by, showing they're lit because they think I got between their women split. I laugh because if my clothes were off, those men would hit. Now let's penetrate a little deeper. You roll the knowledge this time. People like me get killed for their existence. And when I die, I'm going out smiling, knowing I was me. You see, many wear masks because they're horrified by who they really are. Now, please wash down what I said with a glass of scent, because we got to make it common to the people so they understand. My sexuality isn't my preference. It's only my resource. What is me? Poetry is me. Music is me. A white rose is me. Genesis 6 is me. Darfur is me. 4 little girls in Alabama is me. Matthew Shepard is me. Troy Davis is me. Trayvon Martin is me. Mike Brown is me. Eric Garner is me. Alton Sterling is me. Tamir Rice is me. Sandra Bland is me. Breonna Taylor is me. Ahmaud Arbery is me. George Floyd is me. Anybody brutalized by the police that didn't make the national news is me. Black Lives Matter is me. Sandy Hook Elementary School is me. Pulse Nightclub is me. Charleston, South Carolina is me. Las Vegas, Nevada is me. The top supermarket is me. Barb Elementary School is me. The Aston Tuck Church and School is me. The CT Four Corners is me. Suicide is me. Genocide is me. Love is me. Pain is me. War is me. Terror is me. The woman in New York City that holds the torch is me. Oh, discover something. It is seen. It's felt. It's known. And it's lived. Who am I? You all are me.
I love it. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Versatile. Such amazing, amazing energy. Just amazing. And talk about rhyming. I mean, Julius Caesar and Deceiver. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hey, by the way, everybody, feel free to put comments in the chat as you hear the poets read. They love to look at it afterwards, and it may, make other people reconsider a line as well. But that was just wonderful, Versatile. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Michael Leary. Michael Leary is a poet who recently moved from Chicago to West Hartford with his wife and twin 9-year-old boys. His poems often explore generational wounds and healing, along with the rhythms of everyday life and shifting perspectives. His work has been published in 3 anthologies, and one poem recently appeared in the first edition of the Hartford Art Pages newspaper. So welcome, Mike. We're glad you moved here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And like you mentioned, just a little background on me. I'm new to Connecticut, moved here with my family about a year ago, and also newer to the poetry scene as well. So I started writing probably about 3 years ago. Didn't really have a background in writing or poetry, so it's felt really good to be, welcomed into the Connecticut poetry scene, as I continue to grow as a writer. So I'm going to share poems from 2 different groups. The first is really centered around some, I would say, internal work I was doing to gain a better understanding, of my history and who I am. And then the next group is more focused on kind of taking that newfound clarity I developed to help me kind of reframe my life, in an everyday type of way. So starting with the first one. So this one really helped me build a bridge from Chicago to Connecticut. So my wife came up with an idea to write a goodbye letter to Chicago. So this is my take on that. It's called Rooted. Chicago, you rooted me down while lifting me up, providing the nourishment I needed since I was a little stump. I've grown so much over the years and now ready to brave a new frontier. My root system traces back for generations, sprouting offspring that remained planted for decades while weathering life's gyrations. For most of my time, I thought I'd stay grounded too, but the time has come to cultivate fresh soil, to sow some seeds anew. The uprooting is stirring sadness deep in the dirt of my soul, separating from my forests, causing me to question if I'll still be whole. Realizing why it's so painful to say farewell is because the amount of strong oak trees I was surrounded by was so plentiful. The grief will surely come and go well after I depart. However, my Chicago roots will forever remain entwined around the frame of my heart. So that was my goodbye letter to Chicago. Helped me transition to Connecticut here for the past year, and it's felt great to be here. And like I said, this first group kind of does a little bit more exploration on my past. So the first one here is called Back to the Future. I went searching for good enough and discovered it could only come from within myself. So I went back to the future in a DeLorean to try to pinpoint when things began to veer off track so I could alter time to put them back. It took a few trips after realizing I couldn't quickly flip the script. So I started slowly chipping away to release the image I was trying to portray. Then I pivoted to rewiring my circuits to help wrangle my inner circuits. The process shifted me from my head to my heart, which granted me a fresh start. But it was only after I made the choice that I was able to hear a new inner voice. It started as a whisper, but soon turned into a roar that I could no longer ignore, washing over me to say what had been so tough, that I could rest easy and relax now, since I am good enough. So this next one here, thank you, is called Open. Opening the door to my soul, welcoming whoever walks in. Joy may stroll on through, or sadness could lurk within. Greeting all visitors who enter, opening the door to my soul, not pushing around any feeling as they each play a useful role. But none of them last forever. They only stop by as a guest, opening the door to my soul, learning from what they suggest. Resilient deep down in my core, with my heart filled up and whole, inviting each arrival with open arms by opening the door to my soul. Next one here is called Permission. A visitor in my own skin, stopping by as a guest, rented out happiness with no permanent address. As I searched for stability, I found a place to invest. This pulsating pound of flesh beating in my chest. Courage now coursing constantly through my veins, allowing me to break free from a history of chains. Gave myself permission to surrender my soul, rooting resiliency deep in the core of my bones. Moved in full time now with a sense of feeling home, since my fleeting heart finally found a forever home. All right, this next one as I move along here is called Haunted No More. Was always curious about the path we take. Spent many sleepless nights lying there awake, questioning what came before and what my future has in store. You see, growing up, there was a ghost that lived inside of me that was eager to escape and discover the world from sea to sea. But instead, he wielded a shovel and dug a hole all the way down to the center of my soul. So alone I crawled the cavernous caves of my core, unsure of what I was setting out to explore, until I came across a compass when my kids entered the fold, as they began to thaw what had been abandoned and cold. Commotion was caused as everything was stirred, yet it resulted in my ghost getting what he deserved, a chance to finally see the light by being told it was okay to end the fight. Now, what the ghost did next was courageous and brave. He grabbed that same shovel as before and began to dig out of his own grave. Eventually, he made his way up to the surface, clearly realizing now what was his true purpose: to break the link in the generational chain, to show his kids things will never again be the same. Now it's time to travel down a new path, since no longer carrying a lineage of wrath. All right. This next one's a little shorter. It's called Ice Age. A few seasons ago, my heart began to melt, thawing from ages of isolation, allowing me to unearth how I felt. Discovering depth in the layers buried below, emotions that were stored away, now put on display to help me grow. Still chiseling away as the journey will be long, but boldly forging a new frontier with my heart unfrozen and strong. And this one's called Tune Up. So this is the last one of this kind of first group. So here we go. Running on fumes for too long, ready to take on a transition. Downshifting out of high gear, making a move to pole position. We all travel down different paths, weaving through obstacles as we go, steering my soul with purpose now to remodel my chassis as I grow. The time has come to refill my tank instead of always running on E. My navigation system set to discover who I am truly meant to be. Reserves are no longer depleted. Actually, the opposite is true. I swapped out effort for ease with my outdated parts left in the rear view. So that wraps up the first group. So after kind of gaining that better understanding of myself, it allowed me to kind of release some of that weight I was carrying, translate it into kind of reframing the lens of everyday life in a new way, as I'm living life now a lot more lighter, I would say. So I'm just going to finish up with a few here on that tone. So this one's called Pockets. Wouldn't it be nice if every moment was just rainbows and roses with our worries fading to dust? But we are snapped back into reality once we realize that this fairy tale is not going to materialize. Yet, we can find pieces in the pockets of time when joy and mindfulness intersect and combine. They'll come in a hurry and they'll move on fast. So hold on to them tight before they pass, since those are the slices of life that keep us going, offsetting the tough days to fuel our growing. So this next one here is called the Hustle and Bustle. How are you doing? Sigh, busy. We hear and say it all the time, wearing our busyness as a badge of honor while being stuck in the grind. Why are we always moving like we have somewhere else to be, perpetually pushing forward as the world swirls under our feet? We carefully craft our calendars only to arrive at those moments to find our happiness is still lacking the necessary components. Our wheels keep spinning, yet we don't stop to ask our destination. Maybe it is time to consider updating our mode of transportation. Swapping the future for the present to stop scheduling and lean into today. Savoring the slices of life that are on our plate right now that will soon go away. We may realize that joy resides closer to home than we think, but make sure to catch it though, since it'll be gone in a blink. All right, this one here is called Grace is Not a Given. The world looks different through everybody's eyes. If you don't conform to expectations, you must wear a disguise. But what if we removed our armor to reveal who we truly are? Could people find beauty in what they thought were scars? Opening our minds and hearts could create more space to hold others' lived experience with a warm embrace. So while we'll never be able to see through somebody else's eyes, we can soften our gaze to give them comfort to take off their disguise. One more? All right. This will be a quick one to finish it off. It's called Turning the Page. Holding on to hope, there is no other way. Can't throw in the towel and just toss it all away. Progress piling up, growing as we go. The path won't be easy, but this we already know. Ready for the work, eager to transcend. The road goes on forever, the journey never ends.
Very nice. Thank you, Mike. It definitely shows so much personal growth and poetic growth. So wonderful. We're glad you joined us this evening.
Yeah, thank you.
And I saw you had some nice compliments from your son.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah, good. Thanks again. Okay, our final evening for this poet is a dear friend of mine and an amazing poet. Ciardi Blackhawk is founder director emerita of Detroit's Inside Out Literary Arts Project and is the author of 9 poetry collections, including Escape Artist, which won the John Ciardi Prize, One Less River, and Maumee. Twice named Michigan Creative Writing Teacher of the Year, Ciardi has been honored with many other awards and grants, including the Pablo Neruda Prize from Nimrod International and a grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. So if you would please welcome Ciardi Blackhawk.
Let me unmute myself. Thank you, Barb. Oh, wow. It's really great to be here with you and to meet all these new Connecticut poets and to be a Connecticut poet myself. I'm going to sort of toggle back between Detroit and Connecticut in my poems tonight, but it's great to be here. And thanks to so many dear folks are in the chat and watching. I'm going to start with a couple of poems from this book. The book is called The Light Between. Cosmic Enterprise. Sun going down. Warblers chipping at their business. Minds interpreting the air upon skin, thinnest vibrations. When troubled, look around. Name 5 new things. So self-help counts bromeliads bursting along a branch. And look, the palmettos become a pineapple, or an armadillo, a prehistoric something or other. Odd how a setting sun suggests a chill. Despite the sky, it glorifies with gold. Every day is a journey, wrote Brasheau, and the journey itself is home. Here, 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 calls the cardinal. A catbird mews raucously from the shade, breaking the peace of one less day. The eggplant. Today in my sweeping, my Swiffer pulled out from behind the kitchen cabinet, a desiccated eggplant, shrunken and flattened down. With the sunken stem curled in its center, it suggested a plum on a Japanese scroll. But I knew it was an eggplant, and I gave praise to the eggplant for keeping its form, even as it shriveled to this light, porous thing, a dried vegetal discus that I could flick across the floor. Obeying laws of collapse there in the dark, it had released no swarm of fruit flies, no scent of rot or mold into my unwitting air. Secret nightshade, sucking in its cheeks, drawing the luscious skin down, emptying cells in slow abandon. It had kept itself for me to discover, to pick up and test the exquisite husk. It had transformed silently and without obvious flourish until I poked around and found the beauty of it. And this one is, thank you, this one is Belle Isle Solitary, New Year's Eve. Today, as I walked along the river and it seemed possible to feel the year holding its breath, a kayaker's paddles suddenly sliced by. I wanted to give you that sidelong surprise, and also the jay skulking in the scrub, and then as well the hawk boldly fanning its wing and tail. No leaves obscured them. The current carried floats of ice. A freighter lifted its wake and went on through misty air, and the sky was a bell waiting to be rung. I call it mi vida, even this loneliness, even if I carry only half of a song. And I put this book together as sort of reclaiming myself after a very difficult divorce after a long marriage. So Belle Isle, which features there, became my sort of respite when I moved to downtown Detroit in Lafayette Park, and I was not far. I could walk to the river, and Detroit is fortunate to have a river, and also within that river to have an island, which is a wonderful park and nature preserve. So this book, One Less River, is filled with water, and Belle Isle is quite a frequent place. So this one is called Ice Music, and I borrow a phrase from Emily Dickinson. Crumbling is not an instant act. And this happened one March when I heard this music. Ice music. Ice melt, ice lace, ice breaking up upstream, coming down from up north in variegated quilts of flows. No instance act, this crumbling. An entire season sends broken continents our way. Once miles wide chunks break and bob or push up against the shore in spun sugar turrets. They rise, fall, glistening, dissolving, ice lace, ice music. I seem to hear a tremolo in the trees, but it's March, no leaves, no breeze, just the score for the scene before me. Silvery glissandos rising from a streaming swarm of glinting creatures herded by the current in a living, touching, clinking, singing surge. And it's also good to know that that river was, for many years, the boundary between freedom and slavery. And it's, where I lived, we were also on fly route, and I would see birds coming through regularly in migration. So this features one of those birds, and I borrow from Whitman's Song of Myself, Crackling the Twigs and Limpsy and Weak. I took from his passage where he supposedly shelters a runaway slave. We don't know if that's true, but but this is called The Woodcock. Weary of the daily terror, I turn to the mystic body of the bird. A woodcock I found crackling the twigs and ivy, barely escaped from a cat's clumsy claws. I feared for the odd angle of its wing, the surprised flopping it made there. But I did not fear the extreme length of its beak or the eyes popping diametrically on either side of its head. I loved the feather's deckled edges and the light weight it made as I scooped it up and put it, limpsy and weak, into an old canvas book bag. And when I released it from that soft, safe space sometime later out on Belle Isle, I missed it at once, as one would miss a friend. It whirred straight up, explosively, toward freedom on the other side of the river, its pulse now gone from my hands. And I want to read the title poem from this, because this is for Blair, and I just want you to know about Blair, and if you can find him online, find him doing a poem. Blair reads Dickinson Farewell, because he was a troubadour kind of poet, and he worked with our program when we featured Emily Dickinson, and I had him put some of her poems to music. So this is called One Less River for Blair, 1967 to 2011. Okay, so you try anything, and you were always ready to go to South Africa, Siberia, New York, Barely 2 cents in your pocket, a guitar for the subway, a laugh to get you through the night. And you'd ride anything. You disdained cowboys, but when the cowboy says how he can't resist that unexplainable feeling that makes me go get on bulls, it's like everything just stopped. The world has stopped spinning at that point in time. It's you I hear, dancing, riding the line. Eternal stoppage, perpetual spin. Last night the moon was a coin, a relief of wings, a scarab, beaten gold, rounded or rendered to place on your eyelids forever now. Today a darker fuzz belies the sun. How dreary myth becomes. Forget this channel of regret, gospel coinage, tedious juke joints, tankers heading south. Dear ventriloquist, don't move your lips. Listen to the hermits, antennae clicking, claws barely touching the sand. Perpetual stoppage, eternal spin. Put those shells in your pocket. Make it one less river to cross a second time. Thank you. And I wanted to read a few poems from this collection, Maumee, which is based on my late life love. After the divorce, I was fortunate to have a relationship with a beautiful artist, and his artwork is on the cover. And this title, Maumee, honors the Maumee River, which was the place where he would paint whenever he could, watercolors and so on. And this poem goes to Detroit. When I lived near the river, I also lived near the Eastern Market, which was in walking distance. A blessing of scallops, Eastern Market, Detroit. Sit, feast on your life, Derek Walcott. I know a lot of people use that epigraph. But anyway, succulent pillows of salt and sea, flesh dollops scooped from glistening shells, lined across the seafood company's bed of ice. Can they tell me how waves know when to stop cresting? If I walk alone through a midnight graveyard, will my bones remain the same? Maybe Brother Nature with his purslane, arugula, and nasturtiums can explain why the fox trotted through my yard in the middle of yesterday, or why the pie guy in the next stall never seems to see me, even when I buy his apples or admire his gooseberry pies. Cheese shop, wine shop, backpack I stuff my groceries in before crossing Gratiot to make my way through the park and home to my love, or would. Except now I've moved far away and the market is locked down. And while across the planet, Venice has canceled its yearly wedding with the sea. No rings to toss to the waves now, so why do I hear your voice in my dreams? And why did you call me in the middle of the night, months after you had died? Dead, he is dead, I told the 2 a.m. voice on the line, even though I had just seen you sitting at my table, watching me whisk a sauce for our scallops, pen in your pocket protector, your shirt sleeves rolled loosely above your finely boned wrists. And Neil was never without his pocket protector. And this, I live now here in Connecticut and with memories and lots of pieces of art. And this one over my shoulder here is one he gave me. And the title of this poem is Of Course. Of course you are not here, but you left me these tilted telephone poles from the 1920s, a car I can almost see, and a triangular warning sign in bright red contrast to the deep ochre and cobalt shadows crossing the center line of the road. It could be the way your dusky trees in the background swell against the horizon, amorphous there beyond the vanishing point, which is, of course, where you are now, or almost, on the verge of taking your last breath. But this road you gave me led me into sleep so often, I'll go down it now, keeping track, and of course, also not This garage on the right, I could pull into it on an ordinary day, find perhaps a path alongside, and a bungalow a few paces ahead, its porch half hidden by bushes. I'll meet you there. And so do I have time for a couple more short one, little ones? Two short ones. Okay. So I heard an owl last night for the first time in a long time. And this is a Connecticut poem, but with Neil in mind. I live in Hamden and Waite Road is near my house. Along Waite Road. Well, the title is into the first line, so I'll start over. Along Waite Road, as the sunset deepened and blazed, I stopped to listen into the dark stand of barren trees by the frozen stream behind me, and heard as if from another kingdom an owl's soft, pulsing calls. Despite cars rushing past, I heard it again, the song on the verge of something I could not name, but seemed to remember. How could the sky be this fierce, the woods so still, and you not here beside me? Thank you. And then one last Connecticut poem, an autumnal poem. It's called Quaff. Quaff. Give me a name for this aroma, scent of earth, leaves succumbing and suffusing, essence seduced from foliage and stem by sun's subsiding dance with lengthening dark. Let the warmth of days linger. Give me childhood's scuff and push into mulched layers, or there where the pine's golden needles coat my path. Oh, carpet of honey and beeswax, tell me who I was when I first breathed in your profusion as hickory nut shells and acorn caps crunch beneath my feet. Thank you, Barb. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Terry. Oh, you have some wonderful comments. If you have a few minutes to check out the chat.
Oh, I like it. Thank you.
I just love the ice music. Oh my gosh. And several people said in the chat, you know, that was pure music in and of itself. So thank you. Gorgeous writing.
Thank you.
What
Thank you,
else?
Barb. What a nice time to be with everybody.
Oh yeah, we need it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we do.
boy.
A
You may-
balm.
Yes, thank you. You may see a black shadow passing across my screen. My cat is here. I'm not being possessed. It's just my cat. Oh, what an eclectic night. This was wonderful. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, poets. Thank you, Ridgefield Library, Lucy Hanley. What a wonderful time we spent together this evening. So come back November 5th.
Everybody. Thank
And
you.
stay well.
Okay.
We'll see you in November, I hope.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.